Princess Kate is in the news again, and you might have heard it's now her first public speech since her quote-unquote cancer treatment. And let's check this out as the fluff piece that it is, but what we're looking for is to see if it's really Kate Middleton, another suspicious sighting.
Listen, I thought Kate was a cat's meow when she first surfaced. I was very impressed. Charming. I loved her features. I loved her manner. I loved her style. Let me see what we got today.
Okay, so well, speaking of today, this is from the Today Show. This is a little puff piece, but again, we're looking for inconsistencies of who these people truly are. Here it is.
For the first time since beating cancer and returning to her royal duties, the Princess of Wales
that's not her.
down on her own, delivering
That's not her.
about her most important work, for safe and nurturing.
Yeah, that's not her. Look how skinny she is.
Early formative years.
We believe that we must do all we can.
That is not her.
Yeah, not her. I agree.
That is how we invest in our future.
Well, this is such bull.
Summit of top corporations, business leaders, and social innovators here in London.
Go back. If you go back a couple of years when we had the real Kate, you'll see that this is a very different person. I agree.
So there's the original Kate. Different jaws. Different jaws.
Oh, yeah. Different facial feature altogether.
Everything. Here, let me go side by side.
I would love if you had some earlier where she's walking and talking. I mean, she was so photographed. I mean, I'm telling you, she was a smash. This latest person is not. I mean, it's not even close.
Jim's not impressed. Okay,
close.
Not impressed. And the eyebrows, there's something very different. The nose is a little different. See, she has a little bump on the end of her nose. The original one. This one has a. Well, I'm not sure what that is.
But of course, women change that all the time. So.
Yeah, she's covering the face. So I mean, it's a good try. You can't. They're trying to cover up the true death.
The original Kate, I thought was even smarter looking than the one you're showing me as the original. I mean, there she's looking a little worn. She had a freshness about her. She had an intelligence about her. She just had a manner about her that was smashing.
Yes, she did. She did. Here, okay, here's another one here. So, you want a younger Kate, you said?
Go back there. The one at the top, the second from the right, looked like the real one to me.
Oh, okay, this one here. Okay, so this here it is. Let's try this one. Yeah, I'm going. Okay, like this one.
Maybe.
Very different. Very different.
No. You had that multi photograph.
Which one, Jim?
Yeah, there. Slow down.
Here's the wedding picture.
There. This one here in the center down.
Center down.
And the far right. Yeah, the far left.
There's the wedding picture.
Right.
There's the wedding picture. Okay.
Oh, wedding picture. Yeah, there you go.
You want the bathing suit picture? I can get you that one too.
Wedding picture.
Okay, so here's the wedding. And just to remind people, this is where the controversy started. So she dies, and then they put out a sign of life with this fake AI picture.
I know.
Just so people who forgot. Okay, so there's that.
She was actually the victim of a sacrifice in December, 2 years ago. I think it was a satanic ritual, and they took her.
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecies, where nuclear weapons will be used so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity and one world government. And I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop the battle of Armageddon and become reality.
That we're going to experience what we've never imagined.
Y para que no salga la lista, entonces nos envían acorazados a la המשך המשפט קובע אותו מבפנים, מעורר מעשים שסיים.
Just a shot away, just a kiss away, and some might say just a war crime away. See how that you put that together, see what happens. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Real Deal Media's finest hour, World at War. That's right. I am your late night host here, Dean Ryan, who is coming at you like a bat out of hell on this incredibly exhausting Monday, as I've been rushing, as you can plainly see here, where I nearly was electrocuted. My wrist literally slit, blinded, and left for dead. And what I'm talking about is the most dangerous place you could ever be sometimes is in the shower. And I'm telling you, this can only happen to me. And I wish I didn't have to say that. As cliche and a novelty as it is, imagine just all the things you have to do. And, shampoo, soap everywhere in your eyes. And then, boom, the water stops. Water stops. You don't know what to do. Next thing you know, you're doing the Helen Keller. And you try to fix whatever just shower head that seems to have a little button that was just stuck. That didn't work either, and cut my finger open. And finally, the water came, and it was cold like the Arctic, where I proceeded to just yell all kinds of obscenities over there in the gym shower, and everybody knows who I am now, and put a formal complaint about me, I'm sure, and I'm pretty positive too. So that's what I just endured just moments ago, but nonetheless, I survived once again to be here with all of you here tonight, and just so glad to be here. But what a show we have for you tonight, and tonight's title is War Crimes, as you saw earlier there. Look at the swift boats. Look at the evil madman behind the logo there. Look at Pete Megaseth, and look at one of the Donalds there on the right. Beautiful picture of him. One of my favorites, I must say. Yeah, war crimes. We're going to be talking about all of that here tonight, as some major unprecedented things are now happening in the Caribbean, as we have now just summoned ourselves and auditioned ourselves as the new Pirates of the Caribbean in the most imperialistic ways here tonight, as we see the most updated news and headlines coming out of Venezuela, Colombia, and I'm going to be doing a lot of translation here tonight, as some of these leaders in foreign countries are speaking in their foreign native tongues. Yes, and one of those native tongues that's usually the tongue of a serpent is Netanyahu, who's going to be coming up in our Real Deal International segment, as he is just dawning on the day of prosecution, as his trial of corruption seems to be upon us once again. We'll see if the Donald writes another love letter of haiku poems to the magistrate to prevent this from happening for his best buddy, who seems to have him MK Ultra at this point, and just tied up tight in the rubber gloves kind of way. But coming up later on in the show, in the Real Deal Religious segment, our very own Neil Bishop is here tonight. Yes, he is. He's here also to summon the demons away from me that seem to be hexing me, literally. Yes, he's going to be joining us as we talk about the Huckabee traitoress, the traitor in making, or was he always just a traitor? Yes, Mike Huckabee, as he met up with a spy. We're going to be talking about that a little bit. And what does that entail for the Christian Zionist League? Are they still being, pursued? Are people watching them still on television? Are they beating the WNBA in ratings? I mean, those are the type of questions that just go through my flux capacitor in my head. And I tell you, it is a true rainstorm here. So there's that notion there tonight. Also, we're going to be getting into just the Zelensky, who is, and this, I do have some good news throughout the show here tonight for all of you. And one of those things is Zelensky, a little birdie from Ukraine. Yeah, a little cockatoo from Ukraine is now singing, saying he is about to evac. Yeah, and head to, yes, Tel Aviv. You guessed it right. And that war is about to crumble into just pieces, finally. We're going to be looking into that. Plus, major, we're going to do a long segment on this in Real Deal Politics, a major assault on everything holy and freedom in the world of marijuana and THC right here in the United States, as America's not so favorite turtle anymore, but America's most nasty turtle, Mitch McConnell, Mr. Blueberry Hands, before he leaves the United States Senate. Well, he thought he'd leave a little lump of coal in our hash pipe, as THC and products of it seem to be, and we'll look further into it, now banned here in the United States. Can you believe it? I can't either. I can't either. And somebody needs to make turtle soup out of that old just carcass he is. We're going to be talking about that and we're going to see what states are going to be affected by this, what products. It's not in people that need it to survive with all their ailments. That SOB, I'll tell you. So we'll be looking into that and peering into that as well. And some major real deal health segments. Yes, we're going to be peering into the world of Ozempic, where we say, oh no. Oh, hell no. Yes, it's how it's changing the makeup of society and how it's changing where people eat and what they eat. And I must be ignorant to it, but this seems to be a phenomenon in the United States, as now it is being tacked on to Medicare and Medicaid. Yes, it is. It has a lot of consequences people are not even aware of, and we'll be peering into that and seeing how it affects people. I think you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked, and we're going to end on a real deal wildlife segment that I think you'll absolutely love here tonight. Okay. Before we get started, we are broadcasting live on The Real Dean Ryan over there on Facebook, the fair, free, and extremely, extremely poetic travel page over there, The Real Dean Ryan on Facebook, as well as Dean Ryan TV over there on YouTube. Yes, we are. And hello to the one person who thumbs me down all the time. Wait till I find you, break your thumbs. So there's that person. Okay. And then we're also on Rumble, where I've been frozen for a little over 2 years now. But thank you for just kind of knowing what time we're on or around at this time. I could have died earlier. I almost got electrocuted, and would I've been electrocuted if nobody heard me? That's the bigger philosophical question. Okay. Now let's get started now, as we got some business to attend to with some headlines from around the world and in your neck of the woods, shall we? Okay, let's get the party started here, as we are now, just totally blasting off. And a big thank you to everyone who participated in our Black Friday just event. I'll probably do something more for Cyber Monday. I planned on doing it, but I nearly was just wiped off the face of the earth. But anyways, now let's get started with this incredible story here. As yes, traveling gone wild. Yeah, you might have heard that Thanksgiving, and hopefully everyone had a very joyous Thanksgiving, to yours and mine. Well, it was the busiest travel couple of days of the year, but it's really the post-Thanksgiving travel that seems to be perplexing everybody across the country, as now one of the biggest storms we've seen in quite some time has now touched down across the Southland, the Heartland, and pretty much anything that is holy in the sanctity of travelers itself. As now U.S. travelers have now faced thousands of flight delays. Oh, yeah. Hundreds of cancellations over the busiest Thanksgiving weekend the United States has seen in quite some time. Yes. Well, now check this out now, as travelers around the United States have now faced delays at major airports during the busiest holiday weekend. A winter weather disrupted many, many airlines, including Delta, you guessed it, as schedules, software issues temporarily temporarily grounded a popular plane model in the days after Thanksgiving, just when everybody was digesting and starting to make their New Year's resolutions. Well, there were at least 12,113 inbound and outbound flight delays reported across the United States just yesterday, Sunday. And that's based on my memory, too. I just memorized it all. Well, according to the tracking site Flight Aware, well, the tracker has now showed over 1,400 flight cancellations. Airports over there at Chicago, New York City, Boston, Des Moines, Fort Lauderdale, Detroit were amongst those that were affected. That's true. Well, there was also at least one rail disruption, in case you were worrying about that. Well, over there in Providence, Rhode Island, which is neither the road or island of safety or getting anywhere on time, where a fire broke out beneath 3 Amtrak train cars with passengers inside. How this is happening, I don't know. Where's Bruce Willis in this equation? I kind of feel. Well, the Providence Fire Department said that the crews extinguished the fire, relocated the train, and nobody was injured at this time. Now, a powerful snowstorm, as I was alluding to earlier, has now just hit the Midwest like nobody's business. Over there in the Great Lake regions over there in Michigan, yes, initially interrupted the air travel over the weekend for some in the wake of last week's holiday. Now, the National Weather Service offices have now issued a flurry of winter storm warnings and advisories from Montana all the way to, that's right, the heart of rock and roll over there in Ohio. As a result, the forecasters have now cautioned the airport delays. Slow-moving traffic would likely follow. But what do they know, and what do we care? Now, what is this storm bringing? Well, get this now. It's now dropped upwards of 8 inches of snow over northern Iowa, just for starters. The National Weather Service said they've never seen anything like it. Now, just by Saturday night, just 48 hours ago, more than 1,400 flights were canceled. Once again, over there in Chicago. Yeah, similar accumulations have now hit Illinois like no one's business, including Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin. And now even Detroit has now, as we are reporting this to you, have now faced over 300 flight delays and dozens upon dozens of cancellations, and they're being very conservative too. This is quite a stunner, we've had reports of, Delta, of course, going off the rails. Yes, we have. But we also have had reports now of huge pileups over there in Indiana. I don't know if you heard about this. But before I tell you about it and spill the beans, well, Delta, as I was teasing too. Well, Delta Airlines aircraft slid off the runway due to the icy conditions upon landing in Des Moines, Iowa at the international airport. Yes, late last night. All 58 passengers were safely transported off the aircraft with no injuries reported. Now, unlike the Delta airplane that went and landed in Toronto and then became like a tourist attraction with everyone taking selfies, we didn't see. No, those crisis actors were not here for that one. I can tell you that. But something that was not a manufactured crisis, yet a unfortunate one, is the pileup that happened in India, one of the biggest pileups we've seen in quite some time. In fact, here is some footage of it. Pay attention to this and never slam your brakes when you're hydroplaning. Just let it go and use the steering wheel and the wrist.
Fuck. All right.
Yeah, over 50 vehicles, as you saw right there. And you might have seen the one scene where they blurted out. Clearly, somebody got ran over. It's just amazing. Well, here's something else that is amazing, not in the best way. Well, FedEx has now released some numbers as we kind of switch to more of the economic standards that are now becoming the new norm, if we can say that now. Well, yes, FedEx is now becoming FedExit. Yes, FedEx, that is no more federal than the Federal Reserve itself. Well, in this case, it's a sad connotation, isn't it? Well, now the FedExit, Federal Express, is now to close their Texas logistics hub, cutting, get this now, 856 jobs as, quote, forever layoff trends continue. That's right. This is coming out of Natural News, who's been very familiar with the matter, sadly. Yes, it's true, as now FedExit is now closing the Coppell, Texas facility, permanently laying off 856 employees. The result of these layoffs have now caused major customers switching to competitors' logistics, and their all of their stats, all of their procedures, and all of their new offers from their competitors. Well, this follows a recent FedEx job cuts across northern Texas and all of its facilities. Now, the move reflects a national trend of constant small layoffs, dubbed as the forever layoffs. Kind of like when couples break up now, it's called decoupling, uncoupling. So now it's forever layoffs. Now, this pattern creates widespread worker anxiety and erodes traditional job security, which that's something I've never experienced yet. Job security and no anxiety, and yeah, nothing erodes that. Well, the American worker is yet again under siege. We just saw this happen with UPS. We saw this happening with Amazon from Dr. Evil himself, because they wanted to save 33 cents per layoff. Well, in a move that now exposes the fragile state of our economy and the disposable view corporations have now of their workforce, FedEx is not immune to that at all, as now it's shuttering all of their logistics facility, and the cuts are set to begin in January of next year, with the facility closing, all facilities closing by April of 2026. If you follow the loss of major customers now to their competitors, this is a major blow to FedEx. Yes, it's not an isolated incident by any means, but part of an unsettling pattern now of endless job cuts, eroding the foundation of the American middle class. Yes, which Mexico said, what's that? No comprende. See? Moving right along here, just like the assembly line over there at FedEx, we'll now continue with a few more headlines. Well, this one is quite stunning too. If you follow the crypto markets like I do, and a lot of people have made a lot of money, and a lot of people have lost a lot of money. Well, maybe if you're like me, you just put 20, 30, 50 bucks in. Well, now Bitcoin has now seen its worst days of losses since March of this year, which was their worst day of losses in its history. Well, Bitcoin fell sharply just today. Risk-off sentiment in broader markets hangs over the digital assets as sell-off resumed. People are selling it all as December begins. Now, in Asia, shares in digital assets-related stocks dropped after the People's Bank of China warned of illegal activities. Well, that's what it is right there. You look at the silver markets, you have the Chinese bankers that are artificially pumping up the silver markets only to take it out to pretty much extinguish and extinct consumer confidence. This is no exception at all. However, Bitcoin and other cryptos out there called Ether fell sharply. Once again, Bitcoin was last seen at $85,894 and yes, 3 cents per share. Well, it's now slid another 6%. Really sad, if you ask me. Luckily, I only have $5 invested into it because, well, I'm thrifty. Yes, I am. What can I say? Well, now here's something that's not so thrifty, as now this is very dangerous. Confusing, I should say, too. If you were paying attention last week, and especially if you became a member and happened to see the show we did over the weekend, well, there's something very confusing with Trump and his rubber man hands but also it goes well beyond just the rubber in this case. Well, now, in the wake of the D.C. Killings of the National Guards, yes, which we were told were from an Afghani man, just all of a sudden. Well, now Donald Trump has now halted all Afghan immigration after the terror watch list suspect attacked the National Guard individual just over the weekend, I want to say. And many have said it exposes the Biden failed vetting in Operation Allies Welcome. Well, yeah, to say the least. But we're also smelling, yes, a false flag. And you'll find out why here in a minute. Well, now following the violent attack over there in the Washington District of Criminals by an Afghan national, because, that's just what they do. The Afghan nationals, just they were the first ones we went into after 9/11. Now they're the first ones that are going to lock us down. Now, the Trump administration indefinitely halted all immigration from Afghanistan, citing national security concerns. Yeah. Now, the suspect, Ram Manwala Laknawal, his name is Ron. He shot 2 National Guard members, allegedly, near the White House and entered the U.S. through Biden's 2021 Afghanistan evacuation program, raising alarms over the lax vetting. Now, Homeland Security Secretary and very put-together, classy, very well-dressed woman herself named Kristi Noem condemned the former administration's, quote, reckless parole program. And I have to agree with her on that. It was reckless, and I think she's very familiar with that, since she stepped in. While Trump accused Biden of creating a, quote, disastrous policy that endangered Americans. Yeah. Now, the attack reignited debates over the U.S. refugee vetting, with leaked DHS memos revealing plans to re-interview 200,000 refugees admitted under the prior policies. That's a lot of interviews and a lot of auditioning, if you ask me. I mean, how's the DHS going to conduct this when they're based in Tel Aviv? I mean, they really have a lot of stamina to do this. Now, while Trump's order tightens the border security, yes, while critics argue it scapegoats refugees, I'd say so. The incident underscores the ongoing tension between national security and humanitarian immigration policies. It totally scapegoats it, because I think we know who truly and honestly did it. And no, we're not talking about cavemen from Afghanistan. Again, that old tiresome narrative. I just won't stand it. Well, it's now reached I guess you could say, a fever pitch now, where Pamela Bondi, yes, the former Baywatch star, has now even made some dastardly claims now, as she just gave an interview about something that I've been kind of yelling about here for well over a month now. It feels like 2 or 3 months, of the National Guard and why they're really in our cities. Very interesting. And let's not forget the red flag laws. Check this out, because I think we are ready to solve the puzzle. Alex.
If I could just get your reaction to the James Comey, Letitia James cases being dropped today. Back in Washington, James Comey put out a video. He said this matters most because a message has to be sent. The President of the United States could not use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. Your reaction to the cases being dropped into that specific message?
Sure, we'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal, to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct.
What is your reaction to his?
Okay, that was the wrong clip of Pam Anderson there. That was totally the wrong clip. What you would have heard had we the intern listened to me correctly, you would have heard Pam Bondi literally say that due to the slain National Guard, that we now have National Guard deployed everywhere just for this moment. No need to worry. And we're going to lock it all down. You see what's going on here? Really wish I had that. I don't know what in Hades happened, but that's exactly what Pam Bondi said. And it goes to show that my gut feeling, my logistical gut feeling of, no, the National Guard, they're out there for a reason that's well beyond just, arresting a few meat packers here and there. Absolutely. In fact, I think we found the right clip here. I'm going to play it for you, and I hope to God it plays. But just pay attention to the cryptic lines, because this is why they left him there. They've only arrested and deported just under 300,000 migrants. They came here over the course of the Biden years, which is right in line and par as the last administration with the mass bandit. Do we have that clip yet? Okay, it's coming. So we'll play that for you as soon as it comes. And we are waiting for Neil Bishop. I think he's coming here. He's riding his Harley here tonight. So we wish him well. Here it is, the right clip.
Working hand in hand with Secretary Noem, Homeland Security. Director Patel has already arrested 500 suspected terrorists since January 20th. We're working hand in hand with Pete Hegseth. And yes, we are bringing in our National Guard to every city we possibly can. Who needs our help? And that's a lot of them. We're tied up, as you know, in a lot of court hearings right now. These young men and women in the Guard, they want to help our country. They want to be here. They are patriots, yet they will not be attacked by a radical Islamic terrorist who screams by reports, Ali Akbar, before shooting 2 of our Guard members and almost killing more.
Yeah.
Ali Akbar. Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what happened. As who benefits from that one? Let's get to the main feature here tonight before we get to our religious segment regarding Huckabee, because it all is connected. It's all connected. And it really is very simple to understand now as we now talk about the war crimes as it's now being had and underway now, as now lawmakers are now suggesting the follow-up boat strike could be a war crime. Yes, you might have heard about the fishermen who were just carrying just bags of fentanyl, marijuana, and just really shitty cocaine. I mean, this is who we have to protect. We have to protect the Venezuelans from bad drug dealers. And I concur. Let's just send all the military out. Let's give them the best drugs, not these just, great value ones, if you ask me. I'm with them. Well, get this now. Top Republicans have now joined the Democrats in demanding answers about escalating military campaign there of the Trump administration, saying it is aimed at targeting drug traffickers. Yes, that's right. You heard it correctly. Top Republican and Democrats. So top Republicans and just subpar Democrats over there in Congress now suggested that the American military officials who were part of the striking, the killing of, I believe now the death toll is well over 100, have now committed a war crime in President Trump's offensive against boats over there in the Caribbean, after a news report said that during one such attack, a follow-up strike was ordered to kill, quote, kill survivors. Think about that. Think about what we have consumed from the WikiLeaks of 2016 onward, how they didn't want that to come out. And the people that put that out, the people that, viewed it, whether it was Julian Assange, Seth Rich, who was killed by MS-13, or even Snowden himself. No, they didn't want that out because this happens all the time. And where do we take a page from someone's handbook from? Who's teaching us and training us how to do this? Well, now the remarks now came in response to the Washington Compost report over there just last Friday that said Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had given a verbal order to kill everyone aboard boats suspected of smuggling drugs, and that this led military commander to carry out a second strike now to kill those who had initially survived an attack in early September. Now imagine that. Well, here's a quote from the representative over there out of Ohio. And Mr. Mike Turner, he said, quote, obviously, if that occurred, that would be very serious. And I agree that it would be an illegal act. It would be a war crime. Can you believe it? Yes. And here's something from the psychotic senator himself, Mr. Tim Kaine, the Democrat from Virginia. Well, he said, what we're now learning is it's all rising to the level of a war crime. Indeed, I would say so. And this is probably why those Democrats that did the YouTube video and just put it everywhere telling the military to not obey these orders, well, maybe they knew something. Maybe they knew something. Now, the lawmakers' comments come after the top Republicans and Democrats committees now overseeing this. The Pentagon now vowed over the weekend to increase their scrutiny of the U.S. boat strikes over there in the Caribbean after this report has just very, very grimly given us a reality we haven't seen since the atrocities of the Iraq War. And we've only just begun, as these are very serious concerns in Congress about the attacks on the so-called drug boats over there in the Caribbean and Pacific. Many Congress and people familiar with the matter are now saying. Now, there's an ongoing investigation by the House and Senate Armed Services Committees as they now begin the scrutiny of Mr. Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration that ordered these strikes. And not just that, ordered the strikes on any survivors, ordered the killing. Yes, now it's gotten to a point, I can share with you that now China has now issued a statement. Yes, China. Let me tell you what they said, as this is breaking news that just happened to come out right before tonight's broadcast here. Well, Xi Jinping himself and the CCP, who, they're letting us be real foolish in front of the world now. And now China has issued a clear warning to the United States as a breaking memo stating that Washington should, quote, avoid any military move against Venezuela. Beijing says the U.S. must not threaten a nation where China has major investment and interest. P.S. Stay out of Canada, too. That belongs to us. Okay, well, that's what he was thinking, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we told you, I shared with you, yes, China is very much involved in Venezuela. Russia moved a ton of gold there just 3 years ago. I've shared that with you. And the original Antifa, not the FBI Presents Antifa, where they were trained in Venezuela. But you're going to hear a lot of people that say, well, the voting machines and the culprits behind it, the masterminds are all in Venezuela. But you cannot forget the true purpose of it is if we're going to go into a major escalation, a kinetic war with Iran, who controls the Strait of Hormuz, where all the oil goes and just divvies up around the world. Well, we can't do that if they close the Strait of Hormuz. That's why we need the Venezuelan oil. So in order to win Israel's war, I mean, how are we going to win their war if we don't have oil? Have you thought about this? We don't want to disappoint these people. We can't. We can't happen again. So there's how that one goes. But what about Pete Megaseth? What about Hegseth? What is his now reputation now? Well, a lot of people are calling him, quote, a sick man. Yes. And those are probably the most accurate just details and articulation of Mr. Pete I've ever heard in quite some time, as now Pete Hegseth is now blasted all over online, on X, everywhere you can imagine, after posting memes about drug boat strikes and praising his efforts of killing all survivors. That's right. The Secretary of Defense, Mr. Pete Hegseth, capped the Thanksgiving weekend with a meme about the Trump administration's drug boat strikes over there in the Caribbean, and the internet is crushing him for it. Yes, it all started just over the weekend, and particularly last night, to be exact, as the former Fox News host, yes, is now posting children's book covers with the title of, quote, Franklin targets Norco terrorists. What bad taste. Now, imagine if this happened to us, okay? Imagine if our Coast Guard or if our fishermen over there in San Pedro were just blasted out of the water within our own radius to our country. It's just amazing. I'm going to show you this, what he posted here. So this is the kind of quote-unquote defense secretary that we have here. And then we're going to get into the what kind of spokesperson we have over there representing us in Israel. That's Mike Huckabee. Have a look at this. This is the poor taste that is now representing the United States. Franklin targets Norco terrorist. What kind of sick man is celebrating this? Well, we knew he was a sick man before he even got into office, didn't we? Yes, we did. Makes no sense to me. So that's how that one goes. Okay, let me now get back to order of operations here is now Israel is now making their move as we're all focused on Venezuela. Yes, they are. They're now making their move in Lebanon, and that's how the World War III apparatus seems to be moving these days, as Israel's desperate ultimatum to Lebanon threatens to ignite a regional inferno. I'm starting to see personality problems in that country with, neighboring friends and acquaintances. Yeah, I can see that as well. We'll get this now as we're all focused over there in the Caribbean and fishermen and all that comes with it, children's books too. Now the drums of war are beating once again loudly, but this time the rhythm feels more desperate and consequential than anything before. And yes, terrifying. Well, the Israeli defense minister and current psychopath, Israel Katz, has issued a stark ultimatum now to Lebanon. Disarm Hezbollah by the end of 2025 or face a new forceful Israeli military campaign. And yes, the U.S. is prepared to join this fight. Why is Israel pushing for a conflict that could spiral out of control, you might ask? And who truly stands to benefit from a war that would set the entire Middle East ablaze? Well, the answers point to a dangerous alliance in a geopolitical game where American soldiers and the global economy are pawns. Yes, are pawns of the Khazarians. Well, here's some key points to take away. Is now the Israeli defense minister, Mr. Katz, has now threatened the new war with Lebanon. When you were blinking and looking over there at Pete Hegseth, well, now the U.S. is actively backing this threat. Yes, they are. Pressuring the Lebanese government to confront Hezbollah, even at the risk of civil war. Israel's military is now optimized for short conflicts and suffering from significant attrition and manpower shortages. Yeah, I just found out, too, one of the biggest elements over there in the IDF soldiers is suicide when they start realizing what they've done. Now, this push for war is seen by some analysts as part of a larger strategy to involve the U.S. in a direct confrontation with Iran. Yeah, I could have told you that. Now, the wider war could trigger a global energy crisis with oil prices potentially skyrocketing to $250 a barrel. Now, do you see why Venezuela is in the equation? Now, do you see why the United States government really, truly cares about drug dealers in fisher boats that they've yet to prove? See, because the real truth is the United States government, the CIA, they hate drug dealers because you know why? They hate competition. That's truly the answer to that. And finally here, before we get to some real deal religionists, well, Putin has now, he has a willingness to have a final ceasefire with Ukraine, demands annexed territories before it's recognized. Of course, this has Mr. Zelensky, the biggest drag queen over there in Ukraine, now saying he wants concessions amid corruption scandals. And it's so bad that now Colonel McGregor has now released some information that Zelensky might be leaving. He might be fleeing and going to a Tel Aviv or something like that. As we told you a long time ago, he is a Mossad asset, isn't he? Tell us, McGregor.
I think there are preparations to fly Zelensky and much of his inner circle to Israel, where they have immunity against extradition for criminal proceedings, and that's what they're going to need when they finish up in Ukraine. They've got one foot right now in Ukraine and the other foot really in the door of the aircraft to fly them out. People don't realize how weak and fragile this Ukrainian government is. Earlier today, I received some information from Eastern Europe, and I was told that people are coming out of the basements and homes in Prokofsk, and they're saying, to the Russians, thank God, let's get this over with, help end this war. And many of them are saying what initially back in 2022, in February, March, April, were saying in Luhansk and Donetsk, what took you so long? I think increasingly the population that lives in eastern Ukraine and much of the population in the West desperately wants an end to this war. And they realize it will only end with one outcome. That is the elimination of Zelensky and his regime.
On this day, now they crawl in underground tunnels that lead all the way to heaven. On this day, many
Real deal religious. Let's talk about it. Let's pray about it. Let's be about it. Certainly, Huckabee certainly followed that advice now. Well, you might have heard over the past week of some incredibly traitorous kind of actions and acts as Mike Huckabee, the man who you least suspect of being any kind of nefarious threat, nuance, or even on the party list of someone you want to have over. I mean, he's just a non-entity, but that's who it always is that gets you in the end. I mean, have you ever seen the movie Under Siege with Steven Seagal? That should tell you everything right there now. And this is what I'm talking about as now the spy who, loved Huckabee in private is one of the most prolific espionage cases of an American who is spying for Israel that we really don't hear much about it because it involves Israel and not China, you see. But let me tell you just a bit more about this. And we have Neil Bishop, who is on deck, who's going to give us his insight on it, because there's a lot of blurred lines here now. As the American who spied for Israel says he met Ambassador Mike Huckabee to, quote, thank him for his support. That's right, Jonathan Pollard, the man you see right there, an ex-U.S. intelligence analyst, spent 30 years in prison on espionage charges after being found to have passed documents to Israel. Oh, yeah, new codes, everything you can imagine. And they sold those to, other countries. Well, the convicted Israeli spy, Jonathan J. Pollard, who you have to remember, too, received a pardon from Donald Trump in his first term, and he was allowed to freely go to back to Israel. Well, the convicted Israeli spy in this case, now Jonathan J. Pollard, downplayed the controversy around his very, very private meeting with U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, telling NBC News that the visit was personal and wasn't done superstitiously. Well, the main point of the meeting, they're saying that the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem in July, Pollard said, was to, quote, thank the ambassador for his efforts on my behalf of my I guess he had a hand in his incarceration and being free. Now, Pollard, the former American intelligence analyst, spent 30 years in prison, as we were sharing with you, on espionage charges of being found to have passed critical security documents to Israeli intelligence back in the 1980s. Israel made the Pollard a citizen of their country during the lengthy prison term, and he moved there in 2020, 5 years after his release on probation. Now, during Pollard's detention, Huckabee was amongst several pro-Israeli politicians who advocated for the release, big time, with pom-poms and all, arguing that the sentence was too severe for one of God's chosen, for someone who had been spying for an ally. That's all it was. He was just trying to, hurry up the assembly line. Now, to quote, or to conclude, rather, Pollard described his meeting that was very private, very casual, and very appreciative as more of a social call, insisted that the two didn't discuss politics or gossip for that fact. But the meeting comes amid a growing list of episodes in which the ambassador, a fierce champion of Israel, that's right, has appeared to deviate from his official White House policy as the Trump administration deepens its involvement in Middle East diplomacy and peacekeeping. Yes. Well, to talk about this and just everything that comes with the religious evangelical ties that Huckabee brings to the table, and with all his, he's like selling supplements too. He's wearing yarmulkes all the time and just having just matzo ball each and every day. Well, to talk about this and a whole lot more is our very own religious theologian of our time, the one and only Neil Bishop. Neil, welcome to World at War.
Surreptitiously, I think, is the word you were looking for, Dean. And I'm always here for you. And you can fire that silly intern that's screwing your stuff up and hire me on instead. I'll be that little intern that gets things right. But it wasn't a superstitious meeting, or maybe it was. I think the word that they were actually using was it wasn't done surreptitiously, but maybe it was done superstitiously. And I'm confused about the whole thing. Mike Huckabee has become Israel's Huckleberry, and that's like, it's odd. I used to like Mike. I mean, I think he's one of those he's kind of that nice uncle you kind of don't mind being around a little bit. He's a little irritating and nerdy, but whatever. He's a little creepy at times, but you put up with it because of his jolly nature.
Well, Neil, let me just for the record, by the way, I was quoting Stevie Wonder, when you believe in things you don't understand, superstitions either way. I mean, I was hoping people picked up on that. I mean,
that. Sorry.
hello. Yeah, but Neil, let's talk about this, because you have Mike Huckabee, who I distinctly remember John Bound was on this show, literally saying, "Oh, what's to worry about Mike Huckabee? He's harmless." Well, excuse me. There's a
That's the
lot to worry
problem.
about Mike Huckabee. I mean, look at the way Trump has pulled the chair back for Netanyahu. Then you have Mike Huckabee, who's he's the makeup artist of this oaf over here, this Fetterman wannabe. I mean, Neil, this is one of the worst espionage acts and spies on this country, probably of all time.
It's crazy. It
And he
makes
was
no
full-hearted.
sense. The whole
Yeah.
story, like, he didn't just get a 30-year sentence. This guy did 30 years in prison for espionage, spying, and sharing classified information to another foreign entity, which is punishable by death. And it's weird because it's like, I want to ask Mike Huckabee, like, what were you advocating for? I don't get it. What were you advocating for while he was in prison? Why were you trying to get him out? Like, what is it that drew you to this guy to be like, this is one of the best guys in the world. I want to be best friends with him. I want to go see him in prison. He needs to get out of prison. And he goes and has a secret meeting, and he says, don't worry, it wasn't political or anything like that. We're just buddies. We're just giving high fives. About what? What is the point? It doesn't make sense. And here's the thing about Huckabee. They have to have someone in this position to be ambassador to Israel, especially in this time where everybody's waking up to what actually is going on over there, who is not a true leader and who does not really think independently. Mike Huckabee is just that dog on a chain. And I'm sorry, because I liked the guy before, but now he's become a self-proclaimed Christian Zionist. Of course, you have to have that kind of guy in this position. You have to have someone who's just going to say, okay, Trump, yes, sir, Trump, whatever you say, Trump, and go do whatever it takes to keep the peace over there, lick the wall, wear the little hat, do whatever you're told. And I think that's really what Huckabee is doing now. And it's kind of sad, because if you had somebody that actually could be in that position, who could think objectively and morally, you might have someone that could step up and actually give good advice to the president about, hey, I don't think as a Christian we should be blowing up children in hospitals and, going and doing these, little Israeli war, endeavors that, we're always caught up in. Because Trump's now become the war president, in my opinion. This never ends.
Neil, to your point. Okay. This is directly from Huckabee, what he told Israeli media just as last September, that he said, and they're speaking on behalf of Donald Trump, which I want to get back to it in his cognitive abilities or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
But the ambassador told Israeli media as far back as September that the U.S. would not stop Israeli annexing of the occupied West Bank.
Right.
Believe that. There's now genocide that's now happening in the West Bank. So Gaza's done. Jared Kushner got his Christmas or his Hanukkah present early this year. Now they're going forward with the West Bank, and they're going into Lebanon. And you have Mike Huckabee, who's sitting on this spy's lap in secret, which, by the way, the meeting was put together now with one of the State Department lackeys now, who is the stepson of Mark Levin. Did you hear that right? There you go.
Oh, man. Well, you can't make this stuff up. It's like one big, happy little inner circle, and we ain't a part of it. And that's, Mike Huckabee's also on record as saying Palestinians don't exist. There's no such thing as a Palestinian. So I would ask Mike Huckabee, why are the maps of the early 1900s just of Palestine and not Israel in that area? And who were the Palestinians pre-1948 who were occupying that land, who were there peacefully? And from what I understand and from what history tells us, Christians and Muslims were dwelling there peacefully. And something happened. I can't remember what, but it seems like it was around 1948. Seems like the Rothschilds were involved. Something happened to where a certain group of people that's been kicked out of like 17 different nations over the last few hundred years show up in the hundreds of thousands in 1948. And all of a sudden, from that point forward, there's no more peace. It's just war, war, war. And apparently, according to Mike Huckabee, there is no such thing as a Palestinian. So they don't even exist. And I don't know if that's how they morally justify what they're doing. But we've talked about this a lot. The wool has been pulled over so many people's eyes. And we're living in a time of great deception, but also just great awakening where people are starting to see you can't just say, I'm an Israeli, therefore everything I do is justified because I'm God's chosen. And so I can go bomb hospitals and kill women and children. And it's okay because I'm one of the chosen. People are waking up and questioning that. I don't know if you saw Ted Cruz recently talking about the kids that have been questioning at these conferences with some of the Trump kids. Some of these Trump kids are showing up and doing these little conferences. Every question from like the 20-year-olds is about Israel and why we're supporting wars and giving endless money to Israel. And Ted Cruz goes on and says, these kids are asking just grossly anti-Semitic questions. It's like, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. I mean, how do you define anti-Semitic? But it's impossible. Okay. For Mike Huckabee, it's so unbelievable literally say, oh, it's not a genocide. Oh, it's all CGI'd. I mean, you have the so-called conservative types out there. What's his name? Dave Rubin, whoever that is, literally in total denial.
Yeah.
And we've had people around here like that. And by the way, they're no longer here a lot of people are losing their minds that we're supporting Israel no matter what. But how do you support a regime that is literally putting kids homeless, if not dead? They're shooting them in the head. And here's an example of this little angel right here. So I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to stand for that. And let me tell you another thing, Neil. When we had Pam Bondi literally saying that, and they said Ali Akbar, bullshit. You know who's behind this. You know the Mossad's behind this. The whole thing stinks to high heaven. The guard, the National Guard who died, she was searched once again over there in Israel to no end. And we have to hear Pam Bondi literally lying to our face because they're not running the show. These are actors and actresses. These are thespians. There's a hidden hand behind this whole thing, Neil, that's preventing the documents of Epstein from coming out. And I'm not sure Donald Trump's running the show because people are giving pardons in his name that he doesn't know about, just like the last guy. In fact, this just happened earlier.
Said it was a Biden setup. I don't mean Biden didn't know he was alive, but it was the people that surround the Resolute desk surround Biden when he was there, which was about very little time. And the people of Honduras really thought he was set up and it was a terrible thing. He was the president of the country, and they basically said he was a drug dealer because he was the president of the country. And they said it was a Biden administration setup. And I looked at the facts and I agreed with them.
What evidence did you share that he was set up and that he wasn't?
Well, you take a look. I mean, they could say that you take any country you want. If somebody sells drugs in that country, that doesn't mean you arrest the president and put him in jail for the rest of his life.
Neil, he doesn't even know who he pardoned. We haven't seen anything like this since Reagan was asked about Iran-Contra and had no clue what the reporters were talking about. And to add to the fact, who the hell was that guy? I mean, this was just yesterday. We saw this guy here.
That. Yep.
I mean, who are we even dealing with here?
I sent you some of my own screenshots. And what I want to say is, will the real Donald Trump please stand up? He's the one, whoever Trump is right now, is the one that told us that Biden was fake and that he was assassinated in 2020 and that whoever was acting as Biden was not the real Biden for the last 4 years. And now it's like Trump. Every time I see him, he sounds different and he looks different. And it's a little bit confusing. And also it's like his morals have changed. What he ran on has changed. And that shouldn't surprise us because that happens so often with politicians. But with Trump, we were all hoping for something different, something better. Mainly for me, I was hoping that he was going to be the anti-war president, get us out of the Middle East, get us out of Venezuela, get us out of Qatar, stop encouraging all these things to happen. And it's not happening. And he's got a once again, deep state warmongering people surrounding him, including the Secretary of War or whatever they're called now, who are just screaming for it. And Christian Zionists seem to just love war. And I'm still trying. I'm looking through the Bible, trying to find the verse about Christians creating war and chaos in other countries, bombing hospitals, doing regime changes, trying to justify it. And I can't find it. If you can help me with that at some point, Dean, I know you're an avid Bible student. If you come across those verses, especially in the New Testament where Jesus taught that, let me know. But the last I read and understand is that it's the gospel of peace. And as Christians, we have been brainwashed into thinking that anything the U.S. does and Israel does to any other regime or any other country, we just trust the narrative and we believe that the U.S., the corporation that is, and Israel are right. And we just encourage it on and say, yes, go bomb everybody, nuke everybody. As long as, it's not us, as long as the narrative is that we're just, we're defending our right to exist or Israel's right to exist. We've had these things shoved down our throats for so long. It's hard to get out of it. But I think, Dean, don't you think they're starting to lose the information war? And there's a panic happening right now. And that's why people are coming out in such strong, they have to say things like Ted Cruz, like it's just grossly anti-Semitic to be asking these questions because they're losing the battle.
It's eerily similar to when the WikiLeaks were coming out. Do you remember what Fredo Cuomo said? It's our job to tell you what's in the WikiLeaks.
That's right.
It should be illegal to look at the WikiLeaks. And here we are again. It's like deja vu. And to top it off, I don't know if you saw the last World at War, Neil, there's an abundance of Israelis who are leaving their homeland. They're not fighting for it like Palestinians who don't exist. They're leaving to Thailand. They're leaving to Cyprus, which both of those countries, for example, now regret not having a clause that prohibits people without visas entering the country, because now they're buying up critical infrastructure. They're buying up and starting illegal businesses. About 4,500 Israelis came into Thailand alone just last month. Well, now it's even reached a new, just a new height right now. Portugal seems to be the place. Look at thousands of Israelis queue up for the Portuguese citizenship. Thousands of Israelis are buying up critical infrastructure, governmental properties, and farmlands, far off shores like Portugal and Thailand. So there you go. And the end equation, Neil, because we have a break coming up, is Ukraine. That's where it all is coming back to. The Netanyahu files that we put out there with the rest of the people just a week and a half ago literally stated that they're going to be selling up all the Israeli businesses. They're going to sacrifice Israel 1.0 and all going back to Ukraine. So, Zelensky, that's why he's fleeing to Tel Aviv. So we're going to take a break here, Neil. If you can, if you can't, I know you've been traveling. If you wanted to do one more segment, because I'd love to get your take on what's happening in Venezuela, because we're about to go to a hot war, or people are going to be serving a war crime tribunal in a military court soon to prevent that, because I see a lot of Democrats and Republicans coming together. So if you can, we'll get your take on that. So stand by there, Neil. Oh, man, it's Monday, everybody. I'm electrocuted. I'm surviving, all kinds of stuff here. When we get back here at World at War, we're going to have Neil Bishop stay a little longer. And I'm going to get him in trouble big time, and I love it. He's going to stay a little longer here tonight, and we're going to talk about some of the Norcos, but also some very unusual viral footage of a so-called pastor totally molesting what I think is his, I don't know if it's his wife, girlfriend, secretary, or student, something of that nature. We're going to analyze that and analyze some things happening in the world of health as well, and what the presidents of Colombia and Venezuela are saying. I'm going to translate it for you right here at World at War when we get back after this quick message. Don't go anywhere.
Yo, man, that's my hair.
John, it ain't my phone.
I ain't no father. That ain't my father.
Oh, shit. Don't come over here.
That ain't my baby. Oh, no. That ain't my son. I know. I got a man. What your man gonna do with me? I got a man. What your man gonna do with me?
They stripping this nigga.
This is not going to be hard. 80% of the Venezuelans voted for the opposition. You have 8 million Venezuelans in exile. We're talking about the largest reserves of oil in the world that will be doing business with the American oil companies. And that is something that I have made very sure that they understand. American companies in Venezuela for the next 100 years.
All right, well, you heard it.
Slava Ukraina!
A Jewish state will be built in the south of Ukraine.
God bless America, God bless Israel, God bless Ukraine.
In Ukraine, everyone is Jewish, but not everyone knows it.
Very holy place. I love Ukraine.
A Jewish state will be built in the south of Ukraine. There is such a project.
Okay, we are back. We are back. I don't know what the hell that was. Usual. We are back, and tonight is sponsored by the Real Deal Media Night Owls. The visionaries with debonaires, the iconics, not ironics, the players from the Himalayas. Yes, you know who you are out there. You stay up really late, and you get up very late because 3 p.m. is our morning. Well, to become a night owl, all you got to do is go to realdealmedia.tv, realdealmedia.tv, where we are doing exclusive content, backstage meetings, late night clubbing, and bar hopping on late night Saturdays, going into Sunday afternoons for some. Yes, there is no party that is feared, and we fight for the right to do so. So go to realdealmedia.tv and sign up and join us tonight. And we might be doing a backstage following tonight's show. Also, a big thank you to everyone who's donated and supported the Real Deal Go efforts over there at Gifts and Go. What a wonderful organization. Your donation, your love helps fuel the operation that keeps this buffer, the independent media, the last buffer of free humanity going, as I am shadow banned. And I'm now calling what we have here the Shadow Ban Chateau. Yes, but it is all for you and a good cause. Okay, so let's get back to business. Business here at World at War, as I am back now. And yes, I am still Dean Ryan, who is cruising with you to midnight and beyond. Yes, love when we are cruising together as your cruise director here. Joining me here tonight is the one and the only theologian himself, Neil Bishop, who's agreed to stay a little longer. Yes, he is, at his own risk. Thank you,
I left
Neil.
my Harley running.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I know over the holiday you said you went to Colorado.
Yes.
And, there's said to be new federal laws. Just real quick, I was just curious. The federal government's getting now involved in monitoring drivers now that they deemed have erratic or unusual driving routes. Have you heard about that? Did you see anything unusual on that road trip?
No, there's a couple interesting things though. One is that they did a real study on the worst drivers in Colorado, and guess what state they're from? They're from out of state. So the worst out of state drivers are from Texas, and now I'm from Texas, and so yeah, but Texans don't generally know how to drive the roads of Colorado. The one thing I'll say about that, I don't know about federal involvement. It wouldn't surprise me at all, especially when we have the great one and only Pam Bondi with those comforting words telling us all they're going to just have They're going to have military in every state, that everywhere they possibly can. I don't know about you, Dean. I find so much comfort in knowing that. I can't wait for military to come near me in my neighborhood. But in some rural areas now in Colorado, they've put up those, those little cameras, those little speed cameras where they can send you a ticket now. And it's one of those things where the people just have to people just have to say no. You can't do that. You can't. I'm not going to pay you to babysit me more. It's like in Colorado, their mantra right now, the liberal mantra is govern me harder, daddy. Govern me harder. Come on, let's go. That's what they do in Colorado. That's why we only visit now and we don't live there anymore.
Interesting. And to that sentiment, and I think tomorrow night or later this week, I will cover the recent passing now of former DA of the John Benet Ramsey case, who just died yesterday. Hunter, the DA, the district attorney that just saw no evil, no harm, no foul. And as I shared with you in the movie, he was awarded in the play for pay, that scheme in real estate, and has been living his years in New Mexico. He just passed now, or was offed, kind of like Gene Hackman was. But he died at the young age of 89. Can you believe it? He's gone. So there's more to that. So that's pretty criminal. Okay, Neil, we're going to get back to business here. Now there is a lot of talk now of, I'm going to play some of what the presidents of Colombia and Venezuela representatives are doing, because now Maduro has now sought, I guess, refuge of sorts, as a migrant of his own right in Brazil. He's hiding because they're trying to assassinate him. But look at this here. Let's play this. I'll translate it for you because I want to get your take on this, because, a lot of kids joined the military when Donald Trump became president again. I wonder how many are regretting it. I know I would.
Oh, big time.
Neil, you have a lot of kids. Some of them, I don't know how many, but
11.
You would feel a little worried if, a few of your sons joined the Navy or whatever, because they're sitting on a flotilla of targets there. So
I honestly, as much as I could, I would stand in the way of it, Dean. I can't get behind anything that's going on right now. The only thing I can get behind is protecting our homeland. But it seems like in this country, we've always suffered with this amnesia. It's like the United States of amnesia kind of thing, where it's like you don't remember. Nothing good happens from us going over and bombing these places. What business is it of ours? And I'll let you go ahead with that, and then I'll comment more on it.
Well, no, true. And speaking of getting behind things, I forgot this happened.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Why am I singing a Christmas song for Thanksgiving? Because I'm already decorated for Christmas. But we just wanted to come and say, have an amazing Thanksgiving. With your friends, with your family. Even if you're by yourself, there's always something to be thankful for.
You didn't let me talk.
I'm asking you now, but get over here.
What? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Well, sorry about that. It looked like a That looked like a retarded Sting, the musician. I mean, that was a high-end pastor, the people that are helping fuel all these wars here. Before I forget, and as we finish that last segment, Neil, did you want to comment on that? Because I think people are now beginning to leave these huge mega churches.
Yeah. It's so embarrassing to watch. I seriously feel embarrassed. I don't even know these people. I think I've seen him somewhere floating around online or something. But
he was floating. He was floating on there.
Right there. I mean, he's obviously on something. And did they rehearse that? What gave them the idea to do something that cringy? My palms start sweating watching it.
And who told her to wear all brown? I mean, what did she work it?
Right.
That's what got me.
Okay, honey, and I'm gonna wear this all brown outfit and just sniff me for a while as I'm talking. Okay, that's a great idea. Our people are gonna love it.
Exactly.
Who goes to these churches and who can tolerate this? I don't understand it. I the only thing worse I think it could have been is if Greg Locke was standing behind her, which maybe that
Well,
ouch.
It was Greg Locke. I don't know what's going to happen to him.
No,
he
he's
might be
going
raided.
down. Yeah.
He might be raided. Yeah, he might be getting raided soon. But that's just another example of the. You know what, Neil? I equate it to sports. You know, sports. It's like basketball became so big and so hated because they weren't just doing sports. They became the news. They started becoming the things that everybody hates.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what happens to it, but it's going down in flames, I would say. But here is the president of Colombia, and I will do the translation for you. If you know Spanish at home, you'll know what to say. And as Neil is fluent in many languages, here it is.
Clan de pedófilos quiere acabar la democracia.
The clan of pedophiles wants to destroy us.
Duro, sí.
Harsh, yes, but
Pero
that's
ahí
the
está la
reality.
realidad.
Yes, it is.
Y
And to
para
keep
que
the
no
list
salga
from
la
coming out,
lista, entonces nos envían
the Epstein
acorazados
list,
a
they
matar
send
a los
warships to kill
pescadores de
fishermen
esta
from this
ciudad.
city and threaten the neighbor, talking about dictator and so on.
Que si dictador o no, ¿cómo que el pueblo de
As if
Colombia va
the
a
people of
aplaudir
Colombia would
invadan
applaud
a
an
su
invasion
hermano que no es
of
el
their brother, which is
presidente,
not the
sino el
president, but the
pueblo de
people of
Venezuela?
Venezuela.
¿Cuándo?
We ever to be treacherous and sold out? When would we ever do that? Never. Betraying our own blood,
Mencionamos o el pueblo del Ecuador,
or the
o el
people of
pueblo de
Panama,
Panamá, o el
or the
pueblo
people of
de
Venezuela.
no es nuestro propio
They are
pueblo.
our own people. So
Entonces
they
quieren
want
que
the
el
president
presidente haga lo que
to
quería hacer
do what the
Duque,
coward Ivan
lo
Duque
hace,
wanted to do,
prestar las tierras de
to
Colombia
lend
para
Colombia's
que desde
blood
ahí
from
se
their
invadiera
own so they
a
could
un
invade
país
us, brother
hermano
countries that shares
que tiene la misma
the same
historia que
history as
nosotros, que
us.
allá nació Bolívar.
So there's just a little clip of what that's pretty bold, man. That
It
is
is.
some they're prepared to die.
Gosh, it is. And it kind of reminds me of some of the speeches that Putin has given. Not that I'm a Putin fan. I'm not a fan of any of these guys, any of these presidents of these countries. I don't know enough about them. But when they talk about the U.S., they refer to, and not just the U.S., but when they're talking about this regime, and I think much of it is, unfortunately, part of this big corporation here of the U.S., when they're talking about this, they refer to them as this ring of satanic pedophiles. And I want to cheer it on when I hear them talk. Yeah, we're not for this either. Americans used to be majority for all this stuff. Back when we were convinced that there were weapons of mass destruction over there in Iraq, and they initially coined the phrase Operation Iraqi Liberation, which spells OIL, oil. So they changed it to Operation Iraqi Freedom because they didn't want to spell oil. Because let's not make it too obvious, what we're doing. But we all fell for it. I mean, a large majority of people fell for it, and I was right there with them. And I would have been one of those young bucks who's like, yeah, I'm going to jump on and I'll go over. I'll be the Secretary of War.
But Neil, did you hear what he said though? This is very key. He said we have the list. He said, they want to stop the list from coming out. Now that's very key because I shared with the audience long ago that the list, so-called list, people in the EU has it. Leaders in the EU, mid-level to high level, everybody knows who's on the list. And I shared with everybody what Donald's hiding, which it's not as salacious as one might think, but he's hiding the, financial crimes of, Kushner and one of his sons and what it's just very colored stuff. But now it's coming out that the list is being prevented from coming out, not necessarily by Donald Trump himself, but by Israel. Israel is the owner of the list. They're not allowing it to come out because it shows Epstein and just everybody involved. But they have the list. Putin has the list. Putin has the sex calls of Bill Clinton. Everybody knows. So you cannot stop what's about to come out. So that was very interesting that he brought up the list. You want to comment on the Epstein thing? Because it is coming out and we're learning some things about it, and it's not very pretty for a lot of people, and especially in Hollywood.
No, this is another reason why I would never, knowing what I know now, I would never feel any freedom whatsoever to send off not just my kids, but anybody I love, anybody I care about, to go join the military. Because the reason why, and you look throughout history, Dean, you look throughout history as to why we've gotten involved in wars, it's things like this. We're trying to cover something up. We're trying to hide something. A politician has lied and they don't want it to come out. So we're going to start a war to distract everybody. A politician has got involved in a sex scandal. They don't want it to come out. So we're going to start a war to cover it up. It's all lies and cover-ups. It's all about bribery, blackmail, all those things. And so I would never feel good about it. And as far as the Epstein list is concerned, I can save people a lot of trouble. I know who's on the list, save maybe a couple. It's all your favorite movie stars and all your favorite politicians and many of your favorite musicians, unfortunately. They're all on it, basically. But we need a list to come out, and we need to be able to have a verified list to come out, because it will continue to help the energy that we're all involved in right now of waking up and holding people accountable and getting over this iconic view that we have of all these people.
They
I know.
scrub it, Neil. They
I know.
scrubbed it. Somebody said they got paid. They scrubbed it. They're all for it. Coming out, Ben Shapiro's clicking his heels and his eyebrows are going up and down. I mean,
yeah,
they scrubbed it. I mean,
that's
they
all.
scrubbed it. And maybe
that's
that's
an
why
acting
he's
job.
wearing gloves. I mean, look at these gloves. I can't
It's
get over
weird.
this. Look at the brown eyes. But
it's weird. And that's the thing that's the question I have now too. I mean, we've been somewhat involved in this stuff. That's all I'm going to say. But when it comes to the list, what's to say or who's to say what we're going to get as an actual list? Or is it a scrubbed list? Or as Pam Bondi has told us, and we just need to trust her blindly, that, some of the things they can't release because it's a national security issue. That's
it's
retarded.
ongoing
It's
investigation. Yeah.
That's all retarded.
It's
all
in
retarded.
closing here,
Fake
Neil,
and
I want to get your final take. I mean, I would love to have you come back, and we could get into the Erica Kirks,
oh boy,
all the different ones, and how demonic that is. We just did that over the weekend with our members, and man, I couldn't sleep last night. But I want to get your take on how is this all going to end? Because I mean, look, you have the UN. If a new UN report finds that Israel's assault on Gaza, destruction of healthcare, education, infrastructure, even the banking system has erased 69 years of human development, making the worst economic collapse ever recorded. This is not war, it's genocide. And that's not where it ends there. The generation we have here witnessing this, from, having the mask on their face to everything we've been through in the last 5 years. Now this, how does this all end? In the short term, at least, if not the long term, Neil, because this is generational, PTSD here.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I think we're looking at another huge distraction, maybe even in the month of December, because there has to be more. There's more to cover up, so there has to be more distractions. Now, Candace, who you and I both have a great amount of respect for, and I'm watching because I think a lot of even the kind of the direction of the world events right now is really falling on Candace's lap. She's even indicated that she's gotten word that something's going to happen mid-December. And I think what they're trying to do, I don't know if they'll be able to pull it off, but I think what the powers that be want to do is bring us to our knees. Start, if it's a war, if it's a pandemic, something much worse than what we've seen so far. And the best thing we can do is just not fall for it, no matter what it is or how bad it looks. Understanding that what they do, almost 99% of what they do and what they tell us on the news and all this stuff is fake and gay. And we need to come to terms with that and not cave. So I don't know long-term how it's all going to go down, but there's such a huge information war going on right now and so many drops and things happening. I almost feel like at times that certain people, maybe even unbeknownst to themselves, like Candace and Tucker, like they're a part of this great awakening, and that's not even why they're doing what they're doing. But the powers that be can't let this go on for too long. And so I think we should mentally, emotionally kind of be prepared for something crazy to happen in December. And just as best we can, keep living our lives and getting the truth out there and taking care of our families and doing the right thing.
I think this might be it right here. Newly released emails obtained from FOIA requests reveal that Dan Bonbingo was approached in March to help redact and censor Epstein files. It's all coming out, Neil. The man, he is so screwed. I never liked him. I was right. I feel so good about myself that I was right about him. That's how good I feel.
I didn't have, I never had
terrible.
I didn't have a big opinion on him. Who I really fell for was Cash. And unless it's all this weird psyop that he's doing and all the truth is going to come out here soon and he's going to be like, hey, just kidding. Unless that happens, he's been such a great disappointment. and so is Bongino at this point. And you have to take this stuff at face value. Like just for a small example right now, Cash supplying his honeypot girlfriend with an FBI detail to protect her, but they're not doing anything for Candace Owens. Like zero, nada. No callback from the FBI. No protection for Candace Owens, but I'll protect my country sensation girlfriend. Now, look, if it's some necessary game that he had to play in order to get the truth to come out, great. But right now we got to call it what it is, call a spade, and it doesn't look good at all, man.
And no protection for Bobby during the campaign when he requested Secret Service. And now, now Bobby is he doesn't know what to do about it. So he's been writing a lot of poetry lately. Have you heard? I'm sure you heard about the Poetry Corner with RFK Jr., the Black Book of Poems. It's very romantic.
Beautiful.
You should read it. A great Christmas gift this year, everybody, just to let you know. Neil Bishop, everybody, you're going to catch more of Neil. You'll see him on our year in review show with Mike Adams and some other surprises. I can't wait for that. And we might be able to squeeze a show or two in between. And does everyone wants to see more of Neil out there? I mean, Neil, look at the comments are just pouring out of control. You are just a rock star over here. So anyways, thank you very much, Neil Bishop.
Man.
All right. Love to have you on. Okay. There you have it, everybody. The one and the only Neil. We'll get him back on. But I tell you, he sees it. He calls balls and strikes. And he said you're never going to see him do one of these things. You're not going to see. He's not going to hold my chair for me. No, you're not. Very unusual. Very unusual. Anyways, we're going to continue. We have a bit more to go to. And maybe with a story or two, we're going to continue tomorrow night with some of the ones we missed due to time constraints. But let's now try to get to some real deal health, because I think it's very key that we talk about health here, because my health is failing, or at least it was before tonight's show. We're going to move right along. I actually had a story about Australia, which is very rare, but let's now get to some real deal health, and let's talk about some of the new changes now in everybody's Medicare, Medicaid, and what's truly happening here as we just right along continue. Okay, well, this is very interesting. I literally was just talking about this, the lost generation, and what is this doing to the youth? As a lot of people, when you talk about news, when you talk about maybe shows like this or others out there, podcasts, whatever you want to call them, you're going to see a demographic that is pretty solid, no matter which shows you're watching. And it's probably, 35 or 45 and older crowd. But something you'll see, or not see rather, is a youthful crowd. As now a lot of youth are saying they don't watch news. They can't be bothered with it. It's too depressing. But they're also being called the lost generation. And I can see why that is. Well, a new survey has now been released, and I sure love surveys. A lost generation of news consumers, ? Well, the survey shows how teenagers dislike the news media in droves. Oh, yes, they do. That's true. Yeah, well, for instance, a college student has wanted to be a journalist since they were the age of 11. Many of her friends never understood why. Well, when they engage with news, in this particular case, they don't know who to believe, so they have to get involved and get in the pit and start to love someone with some truth and some honest facts out there. Well, that's not always cutting the jib, as they say in boating. Well, words to describe the news media today, according to the youth, is bizarre, biased, crazy, boring, fake, bad, depressing, confusing, scary, and redundant. That's right. About half of the teens who've been surveyed recently over there believe journalists give advertisers special treatment, make up details such as quotes, or pay or do favors for sources. Almost always and often. And about 6 in 10 journalists regularly take photos and videos out of context. Now, about 1/3 or less believe that reporters correct errors when they happen. Now, confirm facts before reporting them. Gather information from multiple sources and cover stories that help protect the public interest. At least often practices, something called ethics. Well, to some degree, many teens now, as we go even lower in the age category, reflect the attitudes they're exposed to now, particularly when the most prominent politician of their age has made, quote, fake news a mantra. Well, experts say that few teens follow news regularly and learn in school about the purpose of journalism. Journalism doesn't help themselves with mistakes or ethical lapses, they're saying, but nonetheless, kids are not caring enough to even be bothered with what's really truly happening, not, around the world and in their own country. So they're being called the lost generation. And, like, how do we reach these people? And it's amazing when you speak to a very, very young person today, which, how many opportunities you have that. It is bizarre, I must say. It is very different than when I was that age or people younger than me. It is not the same kind of even reality. How do we reach these people? And the next 5 to 10 years are going to determine our future and determine who's going to take care of us when we're old. And or are they just going to be shoveling us into the glue factory in that case? Continuing here, as now Ozempic is now making its way into the modern science and medicines of today. Well, Ozempic is now changing how we spend money and time. This is just ridiculous, but a sign of the times. Well, yeah, that's true. Ozempic, the thing that everyone loves to say, it's just for diabetes, we swear. Well, now it's changing how we spend money and time, plus what we eat. Yeah, that's right. Industry insiders are now gearing up for weight loss drugs to shake up the consumer even more so than ever before in every sector, including apparel, restaurants, groceries, gyms, and travel. They're causing what they're now calling a psychological shift for the people who take Ozempic. That's absolutely correct. In just over a year, the percentage of U.S. adults now taking drugs like Ozempic or equivalents of Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound more than doubled in 12.4%. Yeah, it's doubled big time. According to a recent Gallup finding, the survey also reported that obesity rate fell from almost 40% in 2022 to just 37% today. Now, some companies are already responding by acquiring health food brands, renovating hotel gyms, and changing lunch menus. But that's only scratching the surface. That's right. Because Ozempic is now being branded as revolutionary. And now it's going to be so revolutionary that menus, restaurants, and as you heard, even gyms themselves are now maneuvering to cater to the Ozempic generation at hand. Yeah, there you have it right there. It's just incredible there. Moving right along there, that now brings us to some Real Deal Showbiz. And speaking of Ozempic, well, someone has returned to the stage. The Osbournes have now reemerged post Ozzy Osbourne's passing, and they've reemerged with a very Ozempic-esque kind of, well, I should say, what do we call that? Little theme there, little fashion. Yes. Very, very, very weird. Who are these people? Well, this is just it's new now, as Sharon Osbourne and her daughter Kelly have now made their first public appearance. Why? I'm not sure why they would come back with that appearance. Whew. Well, they're now back with their first public appearance months after Ozzy Osbourne's death, and they're looking like that. So they made their rare public appearance after the not slain singer, but legendary rather, just passed away about a month ago or so. Sharon, who's 73 and doesn't look a day older than 103, and her daughter Kelly's 41 now. Yeah, they just attended a cocktail party where a lot of people said, can we get you something to eat? Please, no, it's on me. It's on me. But I wanted to do this story to show you what Ozempic does to people. I mean, it's unrecognizable. Look at that. And it's the consequences of Ozempic are very deadly. And they've yet to really release the studies. That's why a lot of Europe prohibits Ozempic, And finally, to answer the age-old question, somebody sent this to me. I don't really have much to say about it. Unlike legendary singer Paul Anka, who's now, I guess, put the rumors to rest, Paul Anka has now confirmed that Frank Sinatra indeed had a large penis. Thank you, Paul. And that's your Real Deal Showbiz tonight. Okay, well, That's just fine and dandy. There you have it on that one. We have one more segment we're going to do. We're going to do our Real Deal International tomorrow. But in this next segment here, we're going to be doing some real deal wildlife. But to do that, a grizzly bear is going to take us there first. Real deal wildlife. Well, this next piece you're going to see here, as we do some real deal wildlife. Well, we didn't do our big intro, did we? Where are my manners? I'm so out of sync. Probably because I almost died in the shower. Here it is. Thank you. Thank you. That's more like it. That's definitely more like it. Well, this real deal wildlife is a very incredible story, and it seems to be happening more and more and more as the so-called global warming, hardly, it seems to be occurring more and more. You see a lot of the wildlife going into areas that they don't usually roam into, for that fact. But in this case, you're going to see a bear who found a unusual place to reside in and live in a very unusual crawl space. Yes, as the bear was spotted in between the
homeowner sent us
here it is, right here.
Videos of a bear going in and out under the home, walking around, knocking over a trash can.
NBC4's Macy Jenkins joining us live now. She spoke to the homeowner about this unwanted visitor. Hey, Macy.
Hi, Kathy and Jonathan. This is a bit of an unsettling story here. I talked to Ken Johnson earlier today. He lives in Altadena, just feet away from the mountains. Beautiful landscape, but he's now got a squatter. He just discovered this giant black bear living underneath his house. Now he and his beloved cat Boo are living in fear. Take a look at the video here. This started back in June when Johnson noticed things near the entrance to the crawl space under his home a bit out of place. So he installed a few cameras but didn't see a thing for months until this Monday night. Now, since then, Ken's cameras have spotted the bear coming and going at all hours of the day. Now, this video is from Tuesday morning. You can see the bear emerging from the crawl space, looking visibly annoyed while it's trying to wiggle its way outside. Now, the latest video captured was taken earlier today, showing the bear squeezing his several 100-pound frame through the small opening. Johnson walked me through what happened earlier today when he approached the side of the house.
I went around to put batteries in the camera, and this huge growl comes out from under the crawl space, and I just went running. I was so scared. I mean, it was the most amazing sound you've ever heard, this huge roar like a lion with a hiss on top of it. I went back in and called the sheriff, and they said to call not animal control, but Fish and Game and Wildlife, and so I called them. They're on vacation till Monday.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So that's Altadena. So when I went to Pasadena, Altadena was the one that burned in those huge LA fires that started in Palisades. And what happens to the wildlife? Well, they don't go away. They start moving in with you. So there's some real deal wildlife for you. That's a huge bear. I haven't seen a bear that big since that incredible film, The Great Outdoors. Remember that? The bear that almost ate John Candy. Why don't we do a question or two, and let's peer through the live chats, as tonight has been one bombastic show, hasn't it? I'd say so. Okay, let me go to Rumble, as we have people who are on fire here tonight. And Real General Mahadi said to TMI and Paulinka, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. The headline alone, let Frank Sinatra rest in peace with his bad self. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay, so we have we also have we have Jolene. Love you, Dean. Love you too, Jolene. Love you too. Thank you very much for being here. We have Margaret saying Sharon resembles Nancy Pelosi now. Does she really? Yeah, you know, yes, she does. Let's find out. Nancy, she does look like Nancy Pelosi a little bit. You're right. I would say Nancy Reagan too, but a much skinnier version. I mean, you know, anyone that remembers that show, I mean, Kelly Osbourne has never been that rail thin before. That's disturbing. I don't know. Do they think men find that attractive? Men, do you find that attractive? I certainly I think that's just artificially abnormal. So you're right on that one. Okay, we have people here who are commenting all over the place. We have Seth Black saying the following. He said, "I got dumped over there or duped joining the Desert Storm." I know, and that has to contribute to the suicide of our military members. A lot of people that went to serve in the Iraq War thinking that it was as a response to 9/11. Then soon that mission statement became, well, it's Operation Iraqi Freedom, which is a former classmate of mine told me, and he was very passionate about it because he couldn't deal with the cold, harsh reality that we were lied to. And we've been fighting Israel's wars forever, and they want to continue to do so. I'm not convinced that this is Donald Trump, and you're not going to get me to sit on there like a little pundit and just talk about, oh, Trump this, Trump that, like they wanted me to do with Biden. No, because what's clearly in front of us is a fraud, a farce, a fictitious person who's playing Donald Trump. It's definitely not him. I mean, would Donald Trump even do this? I mean, who is this? Unless they have this man so MK Ultra, or he's playing one of the most deadliest games of just no holds bar poker, just incredible Texas Hold'em poker. I mean, with just daggers everywhere and snakes and Zionists. I'm not sure which one's worst for that fact. Yeah, actor a lot. I'd say so. Thank you, Claudine. You're always spot on. It's sickening how good that is. Seth, yeah, Epstein controls the courts by text messages in the court. Is that what's coming out here in the fold here? I mean, Dan Bongino. I mean, it was obvious. It was obvious to me. When I would listen to the guy long ago, like he did a great job with his episodes on the Russian collusion stuff. I tell you, it was like a murder mystery, but every conclusion he had and everything he ended with was Putin's a bad guy. Putin's this. Oh, but he's a dead guy. I can't tell you what, folks. Hey, folks. I should just take over his act and take over his show and network like Ben Shapiro, shouldn't I? Just be the new Dan Bombingo. Hey, folks. Listen, folks. Israel and the protection of Israel is nearest and dearest to my heart. I can't tell you the whys, but it is. God. Pathetic. Yeah. They want to take Putin out because they're the Bolsheviks. That's why. They've always wanted to get rid of Putin because he kicked all their corporations out. And yes, it's one big puppet show. Yeah, I'd say so. Here we have another one here. We have Susan Stevens. Thank you for being here, Susan. Good to see you. Susan says the following: "That's crazy that RFK Jr. wasn't getting security with such high-level position." You remember, Susan? Yeah, he wasn't getting the Secret Service. And it was his dad that started that whole program to begin with, if you recall. But Cash, Dan, and wives and spouses definitely, but a girlfriend of Cash's. But Cash, Dan are government employees, not Candace, but wish she had help. Yeah, well, yeah, who you're going to call in a time of, crises when you need help? Well, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be the FBI. Hell no. I'm not even sure it's the city cops these days. Hey, if my cat's stuck in the tree, I'll go get the cat myself. That's fine. Because you call the modern day cauliflower-eared, roided out city cop to come over, they'll just shoot the cat. That's the type of, that's the type of industry and institution really that the modern day city cops have become. They become the miniature IDF people, the miniature IDF influencers. True story. If I had more time, I would show you the new video that came out on the professional dog food eater herself, Laura Gloomer. It's not looking very well, and because I just found out the person releasing these is Milo Stephanopoulos. I mean, talk about that guy came back from the dead, but anyways, very interesting. Okay, here is in Nigel Dyer says the following, that we are watching a movie, all actors. Well, possibly, but at what point do we, and I'm not taking away from you, Nigel. It has to come to a point where we say it could be a movie, or they could be acting, or there's something more nefarious going on where they just want us to think it's a movie where we could just sit down and watch the popcorn and do nothing and, let it all fall into place. I mean, how much longer do people allow that to go? That's something people have to find out for themselves and ask themselves. How much longer do we just wait around and let things fall into place, which always, you have Israel coming out to us, smelling like a rose every time. So, but good point. Good point. Okay, a few more here on Rumble. Thank you for being here. We have a record amount of people watching tonight. Okay, we have Dame Pam that says, baby ears are so cute, but later they can eat you. Are you talking about the bears, I imagine? Okay. We have Aussie Girl that says, I love Paul Anka in the day, seen him in Toronto, so you know how long I've been around. What was his song that he did? I can't remember for the life of me. What was the song he did? Very good point. Thank you very much. Here's another one. We have the real general saying in ancient cultures, bears were considered equals with men. Yeah, they have high regard for bears in Russia. They do. There's something to be said about that. Good point. Here is another one. There's so many here. I have a wonderful story on Australia I'm going to do tomorrow night, and I'm going to go. Let me just tell you my schedule before I get out of here, because it helped me. What I want to do here is, before the year ends, and this is what I hate about the end of the year, is just when you start getting a momentum and you're getting used to everything and you're going hard, boom, the year ends. The holiday shows and all that comes out. Then everybody's gone for about a month, and we catch up towards the end of January, and we all S on the Super Bowl together. But there's that time period. So what I'd like to do is, and I haven't announced it yet, but I'm talking to some people, is we're going to plan on doing the sequel to the underground tunnels of Gaza. So the sequel for the 6 Underground. And we have some actual Palestinian residents that are agreeing to come on the show with me, which it's kind of hard, to get some of these people on. So that's one big show I'd like to do before the year is ended. Also, I'd like to, of course, we're going to do our big Christmas special, but our big year in review show. We're going to have the who's who, the all-stars of everyone on there, and just lay out the entire year. Now, you don't want to do it prematurely, because look where we are right now in the guise of war here. So you could do it prematurely, and then the biggest story of the year happens. So that's what we are teetering on there, just to give you some insight of what's happening in my head, which brings us to... to you by Real Deal Media members. Yes, it is. You're the only one. Okay. I did not get to do our Mitch McConnell story. I'll have to do it tomorrow. But there is an attack on marijuana, and we have to know more about it. As this little stinker right here is he's not leaving quietly, so we'll do that tomorrow night. Anyways, final thought here for War Crimes, a very, very big episode, nearly 2 hours. I just saw the clock. War Crimes is serious. Someone once said to me in the beginning of the year that you're going to see a lot of people hang, and you're going to see them showcased, and then you're going to see them hanged. And if that modern day prophecy is of any truth, well, that's kind of what's happening right here. Is it not? Is it not? I mean, you saw the arrogance of Pete Hegseth in the beginning of this year. the arrogance, his tattoos, his narcissistic personality. You saw that, and you saw it full display. Then you saw Kash Patel and his total denial of any kind of, misproprieties being taken by Epstein and any connections to trafficking. Total 180. And we saw it with Pam Bondi in real time. She even she had her Geraldo Rivera moment where everyone was holding up the files as Geraldo was opening the vault to Capone with nothing but just, cobwebs and lint. And there's a lot of other, little things we can point to, but it's all coming out because it's out of the bag. It's out of the box now, and there's no going back in. Everybody's aware of what's happening, even just a little bit. Everybody's having their day in the sun, and now we know what to do. We know who the common enemy is. We know what the solution and what the consequence is going to be, because correct me if I'm wrong, the penalty for treason, I believe, is death. That's right. Because somebody's going to die in this equation. I'll tell you this, it ain't going to be me. And that's how I see it. And that's my final thought. Okay. I will be here back tomorrow night with a slightly shorter show, maybe. There's just so much to talk about. I'll be here tomorrow night, and the following night, I think we have Jim Fetzer joining us tomorrow night, and maybe some other surprises during the week. So for all of us here at Real Deal Media, for Neil Bishop, I'm Dean Ryan, saying thank you for sharing a bit of your night with all of us here at World at War. Until next time, always remember to stay tuned. Always remember to stay awake. Good night, everybody. Good night, and I'll see you soon.